they are committing to getting Knight this B1 pick to put him in another comfortable position, because he has been anything but comfortable across these 2 games, and that is a warning sign, but the Rumble gets through, and Ben is going to land on his power pick.
I think this is an important test. We've talked about it all during playoffs here, is Rumble nerfs on this patch. Now with Ornn still in the draft, I imagine that is something that Top Esports will be looking towards on 3. Otherwise, you threaten it potentially being banned. And as Cubby said, Top Esports, they break up Zyrakan, the most played from Elkanon, no longer available, and giving JackeyLove, I think, some tools to have a little bit more agency in this game. As we've seen, that's been very important here already 2 games deep.
Continuing to tie these 2 bottom lanes together as this draft continues to evolve more and more. The Nahus being locked in. That is a very pivotal champion we talked about for both Hong and On, and they're going to lock it in with Knight on this, or not Knight, Elk locking in this Varus, and Knight locking it in. But now these are 2 champions the BLG are kind of hanging their coattails on, that have been kind of nerfed and have fallen a bit more in priority in the meta. You talked about the Rumble. Varus is also in a very interesting spot when you talk about lethality versus on-hit.
Varus has completely, I think, not only fallen off in priority as he's no longer a champion that gets pick banned, but also I think we've seen the efficacy of this champion really fall short. So BLG already approaching this team with a poke composition. You're going to have massive range with the ultimates coming out from the Rumble, and then also Nautilus giving you that pick nature with his ultimate as well as that hook. So let's see as we get into second phase of bans. No mid laner chosen for either team, and it'll be Top Esports having first pick coming out of this side of the draft. So imagine we're going to be seeing jungle here on 4, and then give over counter picks so that Knight has to be able to blind his matchup, and more of those mid bans. Akali taken away from Creme. What if there's a Sylas? Do you open up the Sylas versus Ahri matchup in mid lane? Are we looking towards maybe a Victor hover? All things that are potentially possible here.
There's also the added fact that you heard K-Man talk about Kanavi getting on junglers that can be very proactive early, get leads early. Do BLG maybe want to spend one of their bans towards a champion like that? You heard Cubby mention the Xin Zhao. If you don't think you're going to be able to get it like you're talking about with R4 coming likely for the jungle, is that a priority with your ban? Maybe also these carry junglers that we've seen really explode in the playoffs, and the Fury ban from Top Esports kind of signaling towards that. There is a lot of statements that can be made by just one final ban here for BLG. Gotta wonder what they're thinking.
Could be Sylas. That's the one that I'm immediately thinking of. If not, maybe we're looking towards... There's not a lot of mids left, so you just go for jungle. Yeah, the Xin Zhao that we've been talking about from the desk does get taken away, and there is that Sylas. So not only are you preventing Knight from having access to this with the quickness, with the Ornn ultimate as well, also giving Creme one of his most iconic champions of his career. So now, up to Knight. Are we going to take the Ahri matchup? Or are we going to go for something maybe a little bit different here? And this is a champion that we did see get picked for Beichuan in the jungle here. Now, Black Shield only works onto one member, so you're only stopping a single person from being getting knocked up, from getting engaged upon, and it all depends on who is really going to be the front line for BLG.
What is it going to look like here? Do we see Knight tap into that Tristana that we heard a lot of talk about earlier on in this series? Go double marksman. A blast from the past of the meta, if you will. And Knight's going to lock it in. He's going to look to try and just slam Creme out of lane here with this pick.
Tristana's going to give him a lot of access in the mid lane. Could this be Sylas jungle here for Kanavi? Kanavi has been a big carry player. We didn't even think about this being a flex. We were so focused on Creme. This could be the counter here. And remember, Creme is the melee specialist. We're getting Yasuo here for Creme. All right, let's get some knockups. Let's try to see the early laning phase. And now, can BLG beat Top Esports in what I feel is the most TES draft we have seen so far in the playoffs?
They've pulled off a heist here, Alk. They've led BLG astray, and they have caught Knight sleeping, expecting this Sylas matchup. What a time for Creme to lean into his melee maestro self with this Yasuo. What a draft. But I do want to ask you, one specifying question before this game goes live, Alk. You talked about where Varus is as a champion right now. Seeing this draft from TES, what is your comfort meter on an on-hit route here for Elk? Because I just don't see lethality having nearly enough value.
I'm sorry, it has to be lethality this game. I don't think you get any space in this game to actually auto. Okay, let's take it from our perspective here. As two AD carry players here on the cast, how are you ever auto-attacking versus a Varus, a Sylas, and a Rakan that can connect with both of them, not including the Ornn ultimate on top? I think you have to maximize the range. You have to be able to play poke here. And for BLG, this has to come down to Knight, and this, I think, is going to be an incredibly pivotal point of the series. Knight has been getting absolutely gapped by his mid lane counterpart. 2 games now with inclusion of the jungle. You have this Tristana. Can we see him pop off?
We have to see, and it's such a interesting point on Knight as well when we tap into the history as we look to run into some small technical issue getting into Game 3. Hey, all I'm saying here, guys, is one of the last times I remember seeing a Yasuo. This is the funniest time to ever bring them up. Satab, Thunderdog, Satab, Yasuo. That was one of the last few times I saw them. Remember, that Thunderdog team actually beat BLG in a best of 5. It's so funny to reminisce back on there. But let's give the stage to the Jayos.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他们。
The fans are getting louder, the flags are flying higher, and in the center stage you saw of that fan cam, Top Esports, who feel like they have regained momentum and maybe give themselves a bit of a draft gap here. They definitely win the Spicy Award with Creme on this Yasuo, going with the grasp of all rune choices. All can break that down a bit more for us, as we haven't seen, you know, a lot of Yasuos in the LPL this year.
Into range matchups, theoretically, it should be a little bit harder, but I assume that Creme is going to be abusing Bone Plating and Revitalize here in this matchup. So we'll be, or Second Wind. Yeah, there we go. We can see it. Actually, it even has Shield Bash here. So doesn't have Bone Plating. Very interesting tech going into this melee matchup. The Flow Shield is going to help him deal a little bit more damage, and up against ranged champions, Yasuo can be a little bit more effective. Also, I know we ran that lower third about the last Yasuo mid. The last time Creme played Yasuo was 4 years ago, LPL Summer 2021, up against Angel. So it's been a while for these two, and we'll see what these two teams can accomplish here. It is going to be mirrored starts here for both of our junglers as they both go down towards the bottom lane.
Dredgeline going to land here for On, and with that passive rune choice coming through for Elk, he's able to get down a couple of big autos. He's going to pop the Ghost. There you see the rune come through and get some good damage traded back. But you talked a little bit about the junglers here, Alk, and I do want to focus back in on them. As always, you have to with TES early game and Kanavi, but this is the first game where we're not necessarily getting the Kanavi champion pool you heard K-Man talk about. Early action, effective facilitating junglers. With this Sylas locked in for him, this feels a lot more carry-oriented than we've seen so far.
That's Kanavi, baby. That is Kanavi. Just remember all of the games in the regular season where we saw Kanavi play Nidalee and completely try to run through the jungle. So I feel like matches the identity that we have seen from this player for multiple years now, especially here in 2025. So Kanavi will have a very important job once he hits level 6 about which ultimates he has access to. The Buster Shot means that he has a free knockup here for Creme. The Rumble ultimate can be incredibly impactful. I think he has so many different tools that he can try to weaponize versus BLG. And for Beichuan, this will be a test as to how effective he can be into a rather low-range composition, and more importantly, around his Black Shield. I think Binding is not going to get too much usefulness when you have both an Ornn and a Wind Wall.
It's about protecting your marksman in this game for Beichuan as well, as he's trying to show his champion proficiency that you heard the Des talk about. Already starting off well with these Dark Bindings, nonetheless. Just letting Kanavi know, hey man, I'm here. You can't escape me or these Dark Bindings, and that is going to continue to happen in this series. As we see on
is already showing mid.
Yep.
He's like, nope. Look, Knight has died so in the 1v2 a couple times already here in the series. We're not letting it happen again. I'm walking mid. He does have priority. This is part of why this Varus, at least before the first back, is going to be a lot stronger than JackeyLove. JackeyLove already forced to the recall and bought a longsword, but Good use of priority here from BLG. Wave's going to push back towards them, and especially with Halo Blades that you mentioned earlier, any damage you can make stick onto JackeyLove is going to feel very, very nice.
It's cool to see that sort of change in classic choice as we talk more and more about Vars in a weaker state. The Hail of Blades instead of the classic Comet that you see come across. Just trying to get down those blight stacks as quickly
Riot
as
did their
possible.
job. I'm so proud of them. They nerfed Rumble right before Worlds. They nerfed Varus as well, who's been a menace. I'm happy. I'm getting happy. We have Kiana in the jungle.
Beijuan. Ooh, you lose your Grump as well. That Dark Binding may be the thing that saves Beijuan. He's going to pop the Black Shield. Kanavi, does he feel like he has the lethal blow to deal? Nope, no spells in cycle, but still a moral and gold victory. And now Beijuan is expecting Kanavi to run away. He actually flashes back over him. Misconduct ducked, and Kanavi just gapping Beijuan for first blood. That is 3 games in a row, all. The Kanavi gets first blood in this series.
And look at how far ahead he is right now. I mean, he is 3 camps up on his opponent. He's going to go towards his Krugs. Beijuan loses his flash. I think a little bit more impactful that Silas no longer has that spell, but a really well-played job, and there was no way for BLG solo laners to move forward. Creme was attacking Knight in the mid lane. Ben was fighting 369 over the minion wave. So, a fully clear, very clean 1v1 between our 2 junglers, and showing up that Kanavi, he wants to show that experience, show that carry potential that we've seen from them all season long.
And it's such a right time, knowing the jungle meta has shifted in favor of so many of those carries. We're going to look back at Kanavi, well, finding Beijuan, and then Beijuan just really disrespecting Kanavi towards the end of this.
Black Shield's too late. Kanavi has 3 seconds. This is when his Abscond of Duck comes back. Beijuan spending too much time, and while he almost lands this binding, Beijuan thinks that he is safe. Really long cooldowns on Morgana early on, especially if you are not hitting your spells. So, Tormented Soil, not enough to do. We get back to live. We got 2 supports in mid lane. Hey, who could have seen this coming?
I just love that Knight is getting ultimate protection finally in Game 3 mid lane, and of course it's the game he picks an AD carry champion. It's kind of like, it's just like comfort for On. It's like, all right, man, listen, maybe you're not used to protecting control mages in the 2v2. Okay, hold on. Elk is not expecting 2 members of TES in the jungle to catch him on the blast cone. That is a big point to return to if you're Kanavi. Ghost and Flash off of Elk for the next couple of minutes.
And look at that bottom lane wave. Elk doesn't know, because he has no vision here. I love this. You can see the pings coming on out. He can't walk back up into this wave until On escorts him in. He's going to catch this wave. He is still staying. He is playing so much respect. No vision from top Esports or from BLG. As soon as this dragon goes into the announcement, imagine he'll pick that up. But that was a lot of golden experience that Elk lost, not including the summoner spells there as well. Very, very aggressive job here from TES. Opens up a pretty nice lead for them.
I know all series long, we've had Game 1 and 2 where drafts kind of felt very similar in style for our 2 teams. We were preaching constantly the fact that top esports need to be very proactive early, or we got worried about them versus BLG. This is the first game from a draft standpoint where there isn't a ticking time bomb. The new BLG form we saw in this series so far through 2 games isn't really going to work for them this time. They're back on those champions that they used to be playmaking and aggressive early. You heard all talk about last game. Champions that Knight used to get that 1,300 gold lead out of lane. So the fact that they're able to kind of go toe-to-toe right now, find these leads for Kanavi, and improve them into dragons, into more minions for JackeyLove, they can be a lot more comfortable compared to the last 2 games where we asked a lot of them in this phase.
Very important here that BLG get a majority of these grubs. Tristana in a side lane is going to be very, very difficult for top esports to deal with. That is those 2 grubs going over. Very fine trade here. As this game goes on, I think the one X factor always have to be looking towards is Tristana. The ability to buffer so many different spells, her safety, the amount of range that she has, and the damage potential with an explosive bomb. Always something you have to keep in the back of our minds here. Creme is just slick with the Yasuo here. Has to be a little bit careful, but with a bunch of shields should be fine.
Kanavi has a stolen buster shot against the 2-man knockup. See you later, Knight. Kanavi still giving nightmares to the golden left hand.
That is what we wanted to see. That was exactly the combo we talked about in draft. Buster shot from Silas, knock up for the Yasuo, a clean 2v2 here, coming through for Kanavi and Creme. And look at how this combo is playing. Creme, a player who has been dogged on all year long, for if he is going to have any success on this roster, he has to improve. And now Kanavi, I feel like, bringing him into the fold, really giving him the tools to win this matchup against one of the best mid laners the LPL has seen. This is exactly the top esports we want to see contesting BLG.
Seems like they've finally figured out and started clicking on, like you talked about, how best to support what our desk kind of called as the weakest link in Creme. We'll get the most surefire player on your team, Kanavi, constantly playing the two-man game with him. And, you know, you could say game one fell out of favor, but if we're talking about the effectiveness of Kanavi and Creme, across all 3 games of this series, they've been having success. In this game, it's filthy combos like this.
The exhaust goes onto Kanavi, but that's the wrong target. Should be onto Yasuo. By this point, the play's already over. Elk is
dead! All right, we have 2v2s finally bearing kills. And it's back even more so towards top esports. They are sending BLG on a death spiral down in this series, and it's just getting worse and worse as Bejuan loses his flash between his own 2 turrets.
He's going to lose his wolves. BLG are, just feel like they're uncoordinated teleport now coming on through. It is on by himself. Let's see if they can maybe invade, grab these raptors away from Kanavi. Bejuan and this team are not going to even cross through the river. Maybe they get it now. Okay, there is a timer. I lied. They are going to at least try to steal some of these raptors. Tormented Soul is going to make it very easy for them to do that. But, I mean, I'm looking at this right now, Slayer, and this is a great engage coming in through from Hog. Flash is passed on, gets this set up. Let's see how exactly this happened. Okay, JackeyLove, the flash was a little late, but the idea of the play is great. The idea is sound there. We have a dragon spawning in 50, and we have not been able to get BLG really utilizing any of these guards. They have a single turret plate, and it is in mid lane. That is a win here for top esports.
And the gold leads across the board for TES starting to manifest in some pretty powerful items as Elk gets caught. Flash forward, uses the hijack Morgana ult, doesn't get the snare. Elk barely limps out of that play, but Kanavi is on one in this game.
BLG, with a composition that is supposed to outrange their opponents, have better consistent DPS throughout fights, and especially in lane, are at 12 minutes down about 1,000 gold, and the turret plates, after Knight gets this one, is going to be 3-4 versus their opponent, or 3-3 now because he got this. Maybe they make a play on tonight.
Kanavi, he's just everywhere, making plays top lane, mid lane, but the Buster shot doesn't interrupt the Orin Horde, and it's singing the demise of Knight. Another game where Knight is routinely caught out 3 games in a row, but now it's BLG's turn to make a response, diving onto Creme, depth charge into that Soul Shackle, more than enough damage to get it done. Clean response there from the rest of Bilibili Gaming.
Don't know if Creme had the win wall, but either way, it's going to turn into Bin getting some gold for themselves. BLG lose out on Knight on the bottom side. Plates here for 369. He'll get some gold as well. Dragon goes over to top esports, feeling good about their spot in this game. Decent trade. Oh, we're doing an overload. I mean, yeah, we have 2 grubs. Let's try to get as much gold as possible. Plates fall in a minute, and it's only Hong in the area. So I like this as a response.
TP coming through. That is 2 TPs, 369, and Creme arriving. They're looking for the knockup, so not going to land it onto Bin, and now kind of got to bide their time here. BLG has shown up with 4. Double TP, not really getting a lot for top esports. Are they getting antsy, knowing they weren't able to make much out of those TPs? Not for now. All they're eating is Dark Bindings. Dredgeline lands on top of 369 as well. Hong trying to kite back safely, but Elk's able to get the Chains of Corruption down. Good unstoppable to interrupt them, and JackeyLove's going to turn his head towards Elk. Here comes the Hex Gates, though. Kanavi going on top of 3. Has the Chains of Corruption stolen around. Kanavi is mogging 3 members of Bilibili Gaming, and there's nothing they can do about it. Bejuan falls again. Hong finds himself the charm. The knockup and the last breath down. Kanavi is in good today. Give him a triple kill. TES running wild with this game 3.
It is 14 minutes. He has 10 stacks and a fully completed proto belt here. Rocket belt coming on through. That teleport from top esports, it forces more. This might just be a quadra here.
He wants more.
Oh, not able to grab it, but guess what? 2 jungle camps and some more damage on these mid and top tier turrets here for top esports. Those teleports set themselves up. They get their resets, spend some of their gold. We have 40 seconds before the Herald spawns on top side, and I don't think BLG can contest. This starts off with an engage, maybe on to Hong, but it just takes way too long. BLG are not only behind, but they don't have enough damage. This Ornn is incredibly tanky, and the collapse from top esports. This is the best play of all. It is just Kanavi 1v3, and if they can't kill him here, then Slayer, I think we're waiting another 8 minutes before they can even kill Kanavi.
This is just definition of flow state right now. Kanavi making all the right moves, and he's not done. He's got a depth charge hijack. He's going to drop it on top of Knight as he eliminates his support. Double knockups land on a Knight. Hong makes it a triple. They're just throwing Knight into the air, bouncing him around, and he'll rocket jump himself back out. But Ben TPs himself into the meat grinder, instantly gets popped. Beitwan having to flash away from Kanavi and Hong again. This is TES in their prime, showing why they were the top seed out of Group Ascend, threatening to go back to a second LPL final.
TES didn't even teleport Creme over there. He couldn't move for that fight. That should have been an advantage for BLG, and it turns into another team fight victory. Round the bottom side of the map, now even the Herald going over. Top esports are transitioning early game leads into mid-game advantages. We are 16 minutes. I don't think we're allowed to fight this, BLG. We are posturing, and they can still engage.
Oh no. Scuttle Crab to set the engage. Where is the knockup? Where is the last breath? Hong isn't able to land it. Good equalizer as well to separate. Hong going to re-engage with the depth charge. Blast going to get Bin 40. He's looking for the overheat. Pumping the damage on the Flame Spitter. And now CS on the back foot. Good knockup from the Dado on Creme. Hijack. Equalizer going to come back down into the feather pullback. JackeyLove sets them up. And Kanavi knocks them down again. Top esports are just hitting harder, moving faster, and looking stronger. And there's nothing BLG can do to stop him.
The only reason this play went on as long as it did is because Kanavi got hit with a binding. This fight should have been over 5 minutes earlier with BLG losing even more. We are at 16.5 minutes. This is our number 1 and number 3 seeds fighting, and top esports are 12-1 and 8,000 gold ahead of their opponents with a dragon advantage. We have another one spawning in 55 seconds here, Slayer. We get back into these fights. There is no sums now here for top esports, but I think the gold advantage that they have, the almost 4,000 gold lead that Kanavi has over Beitwan is excruciating.
We just got to take stock of where we were in this series to now, right? Because I know we didn't share all of it. We had to let our desks share a lot of our sentiments after game 1. But I know both of us were sitting there thinking, oh, crud. If top esports, they lose a game like that, how much confidence do you have them in game 2? And if they lose game 2, does this series feel over? How much of a 180 have you done? And answer it after we watch another Kanavi masterclass.
Just like, this play goes a little too long, and if BLG were slightly even, wait, picture.
Hold on. It's another hijacked ultimate from guess who? Kanavi, sending more names back to the base than BLG can count. It's Kanavi with his 9th kill of the game, and BLG once again running away from the godlike man on Sumner's Rift. Bin doesn't even catch him as he has his stasis up. He's going to dash after him, dive under the turret. There's one, making a double. Only Elk's Shades of Corruptions can stop the madman Kanavi on this Rift.
Elk gets at least one, and that is a shutdown. Kanavi, I want to see if he respawns in 30 seconds. Does he still have a shutdown bounty? Because that would be impressive. Dragon is up on the table, but top esports cannot do anything. BLG cannot answer right now. That was them overextending just a little bit too far, but the gold lead is still in their favor. They are still clapping. BLG, I think, are tripping over themselves, trying to run towards these objectives, trying to see if they can make some play happen, some kill go their way, get a shutdown here or there.
Cute damage,
Knight
bro.
is just tickling him, and all that 369 has is an Aegis of the Legion and a ton of HP. He has no armor right now. We get back into this replay. What is Beishuan supposed to do versus Yasuo, right? And this is a very clean engage here from Kanavi. He gets access to the Morgana ultimate. The same things we were just talking about, though, Slayer. No damage available for BLG, and almost like a meat grinder, just walking in one by one by one.
And of course, Kanavi does finally get shut down here, but this is what we like to call in the business, folks, is limit testing when you're this far ahead. And
Yep.
Kanavi can afford to do so.
He's very, very fed. Can't wait to see where we're at as we come out of replay. TES did grab themselves a Dragon Sweat. 20 minutes. They're at Soul Point. They have a 9,000 gold lead. And this is the most dominant we have seen Top Esports in this series by far. This is an incredible game coming in from the mid-jungle, specifically from General Kanavi. There were questions about whether or not his form from JDG last year, looking pretty shaky, looking like maybe he had lost his touch. Now, as the carry threat here for Top Esports, and just completely shutting out BLG here in this game number 3.
It's the same, this topside brush that BLG is so hesitant to walk into. Creme gets one knockup, but he goes all in with the last breath. Hall gets a double charm into the bouncy House of Doom. All BLG see is the sky and the gray screen as they make their fall back down. It's only Creme that ends up falling, but TES want more, but it's Kanavi with the flash, and of course, he finds Beishuan once again. Good buster shot back, but Knight, you can't even kill off JackeyLove. It's a rocket jump back out to safety. Only one morsel of a kill allowed to Bilibili.
He is 13-1. Beishuan, this is supposed to be
Horn
your
upgrade,
little
by the
pocket pick that you pulled on through. The AI from JDG thinks this is an 81%. Hey, I'll give you an extra 9 right there for talking about Knight. This is a 90% win percentile coming on through for Top Esports. 21 minutes, Hex Tech Soul in 3, and almost at a 10,000 gold difference. Please buy the Magi's. Knight is known for it, but now you gotta make him know who's the real big bad in this game. Knockups galore. It is just a rough shot that Top Esports are running over BLG. We keep seeing Top Esports in these replays. There's nothing more for me to explain in them other than the fact that this gold lead and the advantage here. We gotta get out of this game quickly.
Not before Kanavi fills his book full of pages. Is at this point what I'm looking for. We've gone to it. Yeah, thank you. That's an elite highlight there coming out from you all. Here's the fun part we've gotten to here. This is, you know, blowout games can not be the most fun because they're so one-sided. But we get to play this fun game I like to call, can he one-shot? That's where we're at with Kanavi right now and how ahead he is. Let's see. How many people can this guy one-shot?
Kanavi just
he's
gets to do
face-checking
this.
3 people, and Beishuan, he doesn't think, oh, I see an engage. He's like, oh god, the devil is running at me faster than the speed of light, and somehow he gets onto Elk, goes to Redemption, the only reason to save him. Kanavi is ignoring all structures, all enemies, all he sees is red, all he sees is series point for Top Esports, and they might as well just look for the push damn near soon as they knock down an inhibitor at 22 minutes. Creme, though, has to throw up the wind wall as Knight and Bin are trying to push some damage back out, but look at the big tanky horn. Do not touch my mid laner.
Not even a single turret here taken by BLG. Oh my god, Kanavi!
Oh, Kanavi! They have families, man!
Every ultimate, by the way, is incredibly dangerous.
Oh no, you don't want to hook that guy on! Oh my lord, he turns the Chains of Corruption right back at BLG.
He's looking for it. Kanavi wants more.
He wants the full book. He wants the full book. All right, he's not going to get it on tonight. BLG, just let them leave. Let them
22
leave.
stacks here. We're going to probably see a fully stacked Magi's here for Kanavi. Our producer, Rare Adam, did throw a lower third earlier. 9-3 is what Kanavi is all-time. Guess what? Let's pull up a 10-3 real quickly here in this game. A disgusting jungle difference, and something that we'll have to talk about going into game number 4. Beishuan has been a playoff-only appearance here for Bilibili. It was Shadow who led them through every single game of the regular season for split number 3. There were rumors about Beishuan coming back and getting his starting spot, about Shadow and this honeymoon that we saw from BLG. But I don't even think Shadow's appearance can save what has been not only just Kanavi in the jungle, but Creme and Knight. Knight has not been performing to the caliber that we expect from a player of his resume.
And it's been such a strategic approach to making that happen for Top Esports. We talked about it in games 1 and 2. What was it, right? It was Kanavi constantly camping out on this mid lane. Not just protecting Creme, but finding these unique gank angles to find kills after kills. There has not been a game in this series where Knight has not been killed off in the mid lane in the early game phase. And in games 1 and 2, it was Kanavi protecting him. We see that in game 3 as well. But like we saw in the draft with the switch from Sylas jungle out of the mid lane, they're also kind of catching Knight out in drafts. You've got to think this Tristana pick was here to try and counter the Sylas. And that blew up straight in his face. And we saw it happen pretty quickly on the Rift once we got on there.
Incredible flexibility, one of the things you can always rely upon when you have Kanavi. Now, let's do some table setting here because this game is functionally over for a lot of people. We'll see how Top Esports are able to cleanly close this one out. Hextech Soul, 11,000 gold lead here. For Top Esports to qualify for Worlds automatically without having to play in the regional finals, they have to win the entire split. And right now, what we have seen in our top 4, think about the junglers that we have. Beichuan, Shadow, Kanavi, Shun, and Tarzan. And what did we get from Tarzan last night? He got the living hell out of Wei. If this is the form we're going to get from these two junglers, I need an AL Top Esports Grand Finals like I need air, man.
And you know, we've already had tape on it too. As AL are the team that are looking to be one of the select few that have made all 3 LPL finals in a split. So you know that Top Esports and AL already went toe-to-toe in those Split 1 playoffs. Adds even more fire to the fuel of that matchup as it seems to be growing more and more intensely as this series goes on. As we were talking about the stakes here for Top Esports, they went through some house cleaning measures towards the topside river, known as a little thing you like to call the Baron buff that was all but guaranteed to them by the mighty gold lead they're holding. And well, BLG, what can they do? Watch all of their structures fall? Well, they might just watch this game fall. Here's the waves brought up towards the Nexus turrets, and we just have to keep our eyes on the man, the myth, the legend, Kanavi, and when he decides to go in. This time it was 369 to start things off, and there's not much to say here. BLG are cowering in fear in their own fountain as they have watched their 1-0 lead in the upper bracket diminish, and they see themselves 1 game away from the loser's bracket, and Top Esports 1 game away from a second grand finals.
26-25-3. I have doubted that we have seen a bigger difference between our two teams here tonight. An incredible performance from Kanavi, one that was completely predicated on the draft, swapping the Sylas over, getting this Yasuo mid for Creme, and Knight yet again having to answer huge questions about his performance here. He's been bulletproof all playoffs, all regular season long, earning our MVP here from LPL English. But it might come crumbling against the unexpected mid of Top Esports.
And the Split 1 MVP from Top Esports, showing why he's still got it after all those months away. We were due. It felt like we were due for one of those one-sided games, but one-sided might be selling it short. That was a floundering performance from BLG that we're going to have the desk breakdown. Grapes on the desk. One might call that BLG Game 3 more disappointing than the Brooklyn Nets in 2025. What do you have to say about that?
That's not good. That's
What the hell,
that's
man?
not good. That's not good. That's not good.
We didn't even. The season hasn't even started yet, and we're already flaming. All right. You know what? Our 5 first-round picks are gonna do us wonders in the season, just like how BLG had some wonders handed to them by Top Esports in that 3rd game. Grapes, Cubby, and K-Man with you guys here on the analyst desk to break this one down. I saw our socials team kind of complaining about the lack of action in the early game. Well, Kanavi said, don't worry, I'll make you worry instead, BLG, with a explosive Sylas performance in that 3rd game.
That was crazy impressive, K-Man. I mean, that was a 1v9, an absolute nuke drop by Kanavi on the Rift, doing things on a jungler. I mean, just styling from the flex pick. It was a great flex that we thought, like putting Sylas jungle and giving Creme a better matchup. But how Kanavi was able to catch this one in, well, it was to the likes of which we could have never imagined. Because he just destroyed that game.
Yeah, I mean, that was not safe for work. That was a truly disgusting performance from Kanavi. I mean, he embarrassed all of BLG, and he did it really throughout the entire game. There's a lot of credit to be given around for top esports as well. Well, you know, we can talk about the one-man show. Definitely was. I want to make sure that everyone's getting their credit, but this is a defining playoff performance for Kanavi. I mean, this is just one of the most disgusting graphs that you will ever see. 30k damage for Silas. I can't wait to see the KP. I think he got very close to 100%. I'm not quite sure he was there, but I mean, what do you say? You tip your cap in this one.
Kanavi did more damage, or almost more damage, than Knight and Elk combined. The 280 carries, mind you.
Oh
here
my God.
On the BLG side, Covey. It was gross.
Yeah, that is disgusting. I was not expecting that. I saw someone in the chat say, watch JackeyLove get MVP after this one, which I got a pretty good chuckle off of, but I think Kanavi's going to secure this one for himself. As, yeah, we're going to start this one with On throwing his hook into a wall and a shield, and pretty much the Kanavi pop-up. We'll talk about it more as we have a couple of the clips from Kanavi pulled up, but I mean, we don't really know what else to say besides just to celebrate the fact that Kanavi did something that we have. I mean, it's pretty rare to see someone pub stomp a game like that at this level of League of Legends, and Kanavi just did that with style.
And, you know, got to set up Creme on a signature Yasuo pick as well, K-Man. We got some throwback to the OMG days in this one.
Yeah, that's the exciting thing, right? Creme got to pick Yasuo in a upper bracket final playoff series and win a game, dominantly win a game on it. There were multiple ultimates this game that were massive from Creme. One of them did cost his life, but, you know, we look beyond that. I'm just really excited to see this jungle mid really step up here today. There's been a lot of gaps across the map. Jungle, I think support, you know, as we've talked about, has been a pretty big gap. This Rumble ultimate's disgusting, by the way. But I think the mid lane gap has also been ginormous so far in this series. Creme has just been in better spots than Knight has been in. I think that's pretty fair to say.
I mean, I think it's worth saying. I think a lot of that, though, has been the pressure that top esports has been able to also collapse into mid. I think that Kanavi, I mean, again, he broke the game. Like, he solo killed Beishwan at, what, level 5? With a sick outplay to start things off. And that really was just Kanavi starting the cook. Because from there, I mean, he was the highest level in the game by the end. We saw the damage chart. He did things in this game that it's really, like, hard to remember since I saw a performance that was that 1v9 out of a jungler just putting up. It's not like he 1v9 the game through, oh, you know, like, I was in better positions, I secured neutrals. No, this guy just straight up won every fight that he took in a way that was dominant. And that was, I mean, just crazy impressive from him. If you're BLG, you got to wipe the slate clean after that one. I'm also concerned at some of the other parts. Like, I thought that Hong was just much more effective than On in this one. We're going to go back through some tape after the replay go through. We might look at the 2v2 kill that happened between the bot lanes, because I thought it was actually really misplayed by BLG in their bot lane throughout a couple different sequences, so that's concerning to me. And we highlighted how the Zyra Khan could be really important for BLG on that blue side, B2, B3. Draft started with top esports recognizing, denying that, and JackeyLove and Hong really cashed in with those picks.
And it's such a stark contrast for BLG, who, in my opinion, really played around their mid-jungle through the first half of this playoff run, getting themselves to that upper bracket final. It was Beishwan subbing in and looking like the best Beishwan that we have ever seen, whether it was on Thunder Talk in years past or BLG this year. Seemed reinvigorated going into the postseason bracket, but going up against, you know, one of the best junglers that we have in the world, K-Man, BLG are looking a little bit lost as they face match point against top esports.
You know, we belabored the point quite a bit on the desk so far, but this is truly a team that has revolved around their ability to play through mid lane. And when you have a jungle gap like this, oh my goodness, shocked expression.
JackeyLove robbed?
It's not JackeyLove, yeah!
JackeyLove robbed.
Yeah.
369 robbed this game for sure. But no, it's just when you look at the way that things have gone for BLG, when mid lane is so